There are days when the grief sneaks up on me from a direction I did not expect. Not grief for a person I lost, not grief for a relationship or a season of life that ended. Grief for someone I used to be, a woman I remember clearly, but can no longer find when I look in the mirror in the quiet of a morning. If you have ever felt that particular ache, the strange and private sadness of missing your own self, then I want you to know you are not alone in that feeling. I am a woman in my 50s. I have lived through more than I ever imagined I would be asked to carry. And I want to talk honestly today about the loss that nobody warns you about, the loss of who you were before all of it happened. There is a kind of grief that has no name in most conversations. People speak openly about losing a marriage, about losing a parent, about losing a career or a friendship or a chapter of life that mattered deeply. But very few people speak about the grief of losing yourself, not to illness, not to tragedy, but to the slow, quiet accumulation of years spent becoming who everyone else needed you to be. At some point along the way, for many of us, there was a woman who existed before the roles arrived. Before wife, before mother, before the one who holds everything together. She had things she loved, opinions she held without apology, a way of moving through the world that belonged entirely to her. And then life asked more and more of her, and she gave it, because that is what she did. That is who she was. But somewhere in all that giving, without ceremony or announcement, she began to fade. And the woman standing in her place, the capable and tired and still going woman, sometimes looks back over her shoulder and feels something she cannot quite name. That feeling is grief, and it deserves to be spoken about honestly. Because grief that is never named does not disappear. It simply finds other ways to make itself known. I did not notice it happening. That is the thing about this particular kind of loss. It does not arrive on a specific day you can point to on a calendar. It accumulates, quietly, over years. The first time I truly felt it was on an ordinary evening about 3 years ago. I was sitting alone after a long day, and I picked up an old photograph of myself from my late 20s. The woman in that photograph was laughing at something just outside the frame. Her shoulders were relaxed. Her eyes were lit from the inside with something I could not immediately identify. And I sat with that photograph for a very long time. Not with nostalgia exactly, with something closer to the feeling you get when you realize someone important has been gone for a while and you only just noticed their absence. I know some of you sitting with me right now have had a moment like that. Maybe it was a photograph. Maybe it was a song that used to mean something to the person you were then. Maybe it was just a random Tuesday when you caught your reflection and felt a distance between who you saw and who you remember being. Before that evening, I had been moving forward with great efficiency. After that evening, I understood that I had been moving forward while leaving someone behind. And I had not once stopped to ask whether she wanted to come with me. What I found when I finally turned around to look is exactly what I want to share with you next. She had a laugh that arrived without permission. She had opinions about things that did not affect anyone else, and she held them without needing to defend them. She stayed up too late reading books that had nothing useful in them. She made decisions based on what she wanted, rather than what would cause the least disruption to the people around her. I am talking about the woman I was in my late 20s and early 30s, before the years of caregiving and compromise and quiet self-erasure began. She was not perfect. She was not without her own fears and insecurities and things she was still learning. but she was undeniably herself. I think you may know the version of yourself I am describing, the one who existed before life handed you so many roles that your own name started to feel like just one more thing on a long list. What happened to her was not dramatic. Nobody took her away. She simply became less and less necessary to the daily functioning of the life I was building. And so she made room, the way generous people do. She stepped back to let the needed version of herself take the front. And the needed version was competent and reliable and endlessly available. But she was tired in a way that no amount of sleep ever fully reached. There is something about that particular tiredness that I believe you may recognize if you are honest with yourself. And that recognition is the beginning of something important. What I am about to share next is the part of this story that most people never say aloud, even to themselves. And it may be the part that matters most. Here is the feeling I carried for longer than I want to admit. The feeling that missing who I used to be was somehow ungrateful. I was alive. I had people who needed me. I had a life that many would have been glad to have. Who was I to grieve myself when I was still here? That thought kept me from looking at this honestly for years. Because there is a particular guilt that attaches itself to self-grief. A quiet voice that says, you are being self-indulgent. That real loss is losing someone else. That mourning a version of yourself is a luxury problem dressed up as something deeper. I know that voice. I listened to it for a very long time. And I want to tell you what I eventually understood about it. That voice was not wisdom. It was the same instinct that had caused the disappearing in the first place. The instinct that said, other people's needs are real and yours are negotiable. The instinct that had been running quietly in the background for decades, making sure I stayed useful and available and never too much. I know some of you carry that voice too. Maybe you have carried it so long it sounds like your own thoughts. It is not your thoughts. It is a habit of smallness that was never yours to begin with. And naming it, even quietly, even just to yourself in a moment of honesty, is the first crack of light through something that has been closed for far too long. She did not return all at once. That is not how this kind of return works. She came back in fragments. In an afternoon when I drove with the windows down and played music I had not listened to in 15 years, and felt something in my chest lift without warning. In a morning when I said no to something I did not want to do, and felt, beneath the guilt, a small, clean satisfaction that surprised me. In an evening when I sat alone with a book I had chosen entirely for myself, and noticed that the silence around me felt like company rather than absence. These were not dramatic moments. They were tiny. But they were undeniably mine. And each one felt like seeing a light on in a window of a house I had thought was empty. I think you may have had moments like these and not fully recognized them for what they were. A flicker of the person you used to be. Not gone, not lost forever. Simply waiting in the rooms of you that had not been visited in a while. The woman I used to be did not need me to become her again. She needed me to remember that she was still the ground everything else was standing on. That realization changed something in how I moved through the days that followed. And what I came to understand next is something I wish someone had said to me years earlier. The final pieces of what I want to share with you are the ones that took me the longest to find. And I believe they may be the ones you most need to hear. I used to think that missing who I was meant I had failed to become who I should be. That the gap between then and now was evidence of something lost permanently, something I had allowed to slip away through carelessness or weakness or simply not paying enough attention. I do not believe that anymore. What I understand now is something quieter and far more honest than that. The woman I was then and the woman I am now are not two separate people standing on opposite sides of a distance. They are the same person at different points in the same long conversation with life. The girl who laughed without permission in that old photograph did not disappear. She became the woman who kept showing up, even when showing up cost everything she had. She became the woman who survived the things I have survived. She is in every scar, every hard morning, every moment I chose to stay when leaving would have been easier. I know this may be difficult to feel as true when you are standing in the middle of missing her. I know that understanding something and feeling it as real are two very different things. But I want you to sit with this. The fact that you miss who you were means you remember who you were. And remembering is not the same as losing. Remembering is how the living carry the people they love, even when the person they are carrying is themselves. There are things I would say to her if I could. To the woman in that photograph, the one with the relaxed shoulders and the unguarded eyes. I would tell her that the years ahead of her were going to ask more than she thought she had, and that she was going to give it anyway. Not because she had no choice, because she loved deeply, and love asks things of us that we do not always see coming. I would tell her that the asking was going to change her, and that the changing was not a failure. It was the shape love leaves behind when it has moved through a life completely. I would tell her that I see her, that I have not forgotten her, that she is still here in ways I am only beginning to understand. And then I want to turn to you. If you are sitting with this today because you recognize what I am describing, if you have felt that quiet ache of missing the person you were before life reshaped you, I want you to hear this. You are not being dramatic. You are not being selfish. You are not failing at gratitude by also grieving what was lost along the way. You are being honest. And honest is the bravest thing a person can be at this stage of life. The woman you miss loved you enough to hold things together when everything was falling. She deserves to be remembered. She deserves to be found again, even slowly, even imperfectly, even now. There came a moment when I stopped searching for her in old photographs and old memories and old versions of a life I no longer live, and I started looking somewhere else. I looked at the way I still notice when the light does something particular in the late afternoon. I looked at the way I still feel something deep and wordless when a piece of music catches me off guard. I looked at the way I still care, fiercely and without apology, about the people I love. And I understood something I had been circling for years without landing. She never left. She went quiet, the way all living things go quiet when the conditions around them do not have room for them to grow. But quiet is not gone. Quiet is waiting. I had spent years mourning a woman who had been inside me the entire time. Not the unchanged version of her, not the version without the weight of everything that followed, but her essential self, the part that notices, that feels, that refuses to stop caring even when caring is exhausting. That part had survived everything I had survived, because it was not separate from me. It was me. The grief I had been carrying was real, and the woman I had been grieving was real. But she was not behind me. She was underneath me. She was the ground I had been standing on through every hard year. And the moment I felt that as true, rather than simply understood it as an idea, something in me that had been braced for a very long time finally let go. I do not know how long you have been carrying the particular ache I have been describing today. I do not know when you last felt fully like yourself. I do not know what the years have asked of you, or what you have quietly set aside to meet those demands. But I know you are here. And I know that the fact that you still miss her, the woman you were, the self you remember, means she is still close enough to miss. That is not a small thing. That is everything. The years have shaped you in ways you did not choose, but they have not erased you. You are still in there. Perhaps quieter than before. Perhaps more tired than that woman in the old memory ever imagined she would become. But present. Still present. And still worth finding. Maybe there is something in all of this worth sitting with for a while. I hope it helps. Even just a little. I am grateful you chose to spend this time here with me today. Before I go, there is something I want to say clearly. Everything I have shared in this video comes from personal experience and personal reflection only. It is not medical advice. It is not financial guidance. It is not legal or psychological counsel of any kind. I am not a doctor, a therapist, a financial advisor, or a legal professional. I am simply someone who has lived through something real and chosen to speak honestly about what that felt like. If you are facing serious challenges in any of these areas, please reach out to a qualified professional who can help you directly and personally. The stories and reflections shared on this channel are meant only to offer comfort, honest perspective, and a sense that you are not carrying this alone. Take whatever feels true to you. Leave anything that does not. Thank you, from the bottom of my heart, for being here with me today. If something in this conversation stayed with you, I would be quietly grateful if you chose to subscribe to this channel. There are more stories coming. More honest conversations like this one. I would love for you to be part of them. Simply press the subscribe button below. It means more than you may know.